Well, and I think one thing that's really important is that marketers have to know their customers better. And I always ask marketers, like, how well do you know your customers? We know them really well. We have all the data, we have all the analytics, we have all the numbers to show we know our customers. And my question is, no, how much time have you spent, on the phone, in person, really understanding and learning their world? How much time have you spent with salespeople to understand your customers? Because most marketers don't truly understand the customer's world. They understand the customer's buying behavior as they interact with marketing content. But that is such a microcosm of what that entire customer's world is like. And I've worked in sales before, and I remember the first time I went to sit down with a customer. It was an established customer of the company I worked with. And I had all of my marketing materials that I knew were so great because I'd been developing them, and I couldn't believe salespeople didn't use them. And I sat down with that customer and we started to talk, and I was just dumbfounded and internally really embarrassed because I realized how much all of these things that I was creating didn't have anything to do with the customer. And it was because I didn't know the customer. And I think that is one thing that is so important, is that you have to know your customer first. You have to put them in the center of everything that you do. Now, doing that, now start to look at, again, what inspires you, what catches your attention. It could be a movie, it could be a series, it could be a hobby that you have, it could just be some random interaction that you have. But the important point is that you don't just take that inspiration and copy and paste it into something you're wanting to develop as a marketer. You really need to go through the 5 steps and take what you observe and distill that into the patterns and understand what made that successful. So for example, in Tim Washer's case, he was at this comedy club and he observed how Ray Romano, the comedian on stage that night, how he gave his routine, his body language, and he observed how the audience responded. He looked at the things that Ray Romano talked about, and it was things like your in-laws, your marriage, your kids, the craziness of that time in your life. And as Tim looked at that, he distilled it into patterns, and it was patterns of things like how to create an immediate connection with somebody, how to use humor to put their emotional walls down, how to build this rapport in a very short amount of time, how to show up unexpectedly, but relate immediately about a topic that matters to somebody. So instead of just saying, okay, I need to take all of these things that Ray Romano did and now, try and implement those as ideas, what he did was a third step, and he really related the essence behind what he saw into his work. So he said, how can I use comedy like Ray Romano did to build those relationships and build rapport? And that's how he related it into his work. And that's how he generated the ideas that he did. But so many times marketers aren't going through that process. What they do is they say, we need a new idea for something. So let's get on a Zoom call, let's get in a conference room, let's have a brainstorming session, and everybody just throw out your ideas. And don't worry, there's no such thing as a bad idea. We always hear that. And at the end of the day, a lot of times everything is bad. It's either bad, it's unrealistic, it will look ridiculous, or it's, kind of a watered down version of something that's been done before. And that's why when it goes to be implemented, there's, kind of a meh, it was all right. There isn't any kind of a big response because it's not truly innovative or creative. And that's because they didn't start with inspiration for their ideas.